And the same thing as you pointed out, the infiltrators of these Tea Parties. So we're really in a very crucial time right now, and we could go either way. But unquestionably, after the stimulus high runs out, the economy is going to crash. They're going to try to keep it alive for the 2010 midterm elections, but after that, it's going to fall apart. But we're forecasting, actually, it may happen even before then.
You're saying before the 2010. Stay there. We're going to come back, get into your forecast on the economy, and then take phone calls. A whole nother hour of Gerald Celente coming up. He's been very gracious with us. We're very, very thankful. Stay with us. The AP reported yesterday, several weeks after our initial investigation, that groups all over the country are infiltrating the Tea Parties to pose as racist and do other things. Well, here is Braverton teacher faces investigation over Tea Party infiltration. He also has a company that supplies much of the city with their internet. And I've said this is racketeering. You try to go to peaceful political protest and make them look like kooks or make them look like racists, as other groups are saying they're going to do, or try to cause violence, as other groups are saying. That's racketeering. That's organized crime getting together to go set people up. And the Black Congressional Caucus walked out in the Tea Party, tried to get them to spit on them, tried to get them to call them the N-word. Nobody did that. The media ran with it and lied. This is the type of propaganda we're talking about. Gerald Celente is our guest. Your call's coming up right when we start the next hour, and I've got other questions we're going to intersperse throughout that for Gerald Celente, picking his brain here, trendsresearch.com. Don't forget, we've got 2 new films coming out in the next week. One tomorrow premieres at prisonplanet.tv. The DVDs of the new film Invisible Empire, New World Order Defined, are now shipping. Check out the trailers and info at Infowars.com. Okay, Gerald, talking about the economy going under. I know you can't put an exact date on it, but a danger zone. A. B, is there a way to stop it? And C, when they implode it, what type of things are they going to try to steal?
The timing is very tough, but we're looking for something really to happen between now and September. That's our window, because you're going to start seeing a lot more commercial real estate collapsing. You're going to start seeing more sovereign debt problems, and they're not going to be able to cover it up anymore. And of course, the Fed is winding back on their 1.5 trillion that they're covering this whole housing bubble with. And that's winding down as well. So we're going to start seeing some very bad sales coming out in real estate as well. How can it be stopped? It can be stopped only a couple of ways. One is that we have to start doing business with each other. We're a country of over 300 million people. Buy American. We have to, and I'm not a protectionist, and I'm certainly not an isolationist. I travel the world. But I also have to support my neighbor, and my neighbors support me, because if neither of us do good, we all do bad. And that's the way, really, as we can see it coming back in, is to rebuild this country brick by brick, manufacturing by manufacturer. And it was wonderful to hear about that jeans company, Made in America. Anybody that's looking to get into business and to make a mark, sell Made in America. The country's yearning for it and really wants it. Number 2, in how to bring it back, is we need a productive capacity as well. And the best way we see it is with an alternative energy. But not wind, solar, geothermal, or biofuel, something much bigger. And this isn't hyperbole. Go back to when we went in the 1990s and we were in a very severe recession. When Clinton got elected under the mantra, it's the economy, stupid. What got us out? The Internet revolution. Products were invented, designed, manufactured, marketed, serviced. We need that with a new energy product. And by the way, a magazine, I don't have the mentality for it, but for those that do have engineering experience, Infinite Energy. They're on the cutting edge with cold fusion, zero-point energy, charged clusters, permanent magnets. Something like that, Alex. You can't print your way out of this. You can't spend out of it. Just like you or I, if we're deep in debt, we don't borrow more money.
You can only innovate. You've got to innovate out of it.
Exactly.
When we come back, I want to briefly, well, we're going to take calls, and I'm going to ask you about NASA. And I'm not for spending $10 billion a year on NASA. But if you're going to give trillions to the banks, over $1 trillion to the war every year, we can't have $10 billion for NASA? Again, everything's got to go to the war machine and the banks. It's killing America. We'll be back in 1 minute. This just went up on the Drudge Report. What have I been saying the last 3 days? Critics, Obama administration hyping terrorist attack, nuclear terror attack. U.S. officials say the claim is not based on new intelligence. It is made up, just like when Bush put it out. Okay? Now, there could be some real terror attacks. That's somebody fighting back like Pakistan. Or if we attack Iran, they've said we're going to attack back. But Gerald Celente, I'm no fan of Iran. I'm America first. But it's not America. It's banks and corporations leading us into these wars that are black holes they steal money out of that they use as political distractions. I mean, if our country attacks Iran, I mean, what do people expect Iran to do? I mean, to lay there and take it? I mean, since when do you... I mean, it'd be like Nazi Germany attacking England and England not fighting back. Or it'd be like, you know, it's just so asinine, Gerald.
Yes, it is. And again, let's look at the history of Iran. First of all, these are the Persians. They're not going anywhere. There are 75 million of them. And, you know, what have they really done? I don't think that in the last century, they haven't colonized anybody. They didn't invade another country. I mean, when you look at the people that are pointing the fingers at Iran, particularly the United States, France, and Israel, you know, their track record of colonization, starting wars, invading countries and occupying them is a lot worse than Iran's is. So why all of a sudden Iran? And what if they do get a nuclear weapon? Well, what are they going to do with it? They're going to attack somebody with it? Everyone knows that if they used it, they'd be annihilated. So this is really to get the people angry. Communism is gone. The Germans, you know, during World War II is long over. The Japanese we don't have anymore to point fingers at. And now they're looking at the Iranians and North Koreans. So when we're talking, by the way, of what's going to bring the economy down, if we have a terrorist strike, this economy goes to zero. We go down an economic dark hole that we'll never be able to pull out of. Because go back to 9/11, we were in a recession. Right after 9/11, Alan, the genius Greenspan, who admits he's wrong 30% of the time, a C average, he began to lower interest rates to 46-year lows. We can't do that anymore to juice the economy. If there's a terrorist strike, we see an economic terror that will drive this country into the greatest depression a lot faster than we're forecasting.
But the banks will love that because they're waging war against Main Street. They love things falling apart. They get to pose as a savior and consolidate society.
Well, the banks are the banks. You know, they're going to make money any way they can. And we don't have to worry about them going anywhere because when we get into trouble, you know, we bail them out. And again, go back to the quotes of Smedley Butler and others who knew the deal and knew what this whole thing is about. It's about people making a lot of money and doing dirty deals, and the banks are the ones that wash the money.
Absolutely, and that's why Reuters even admits Russia said, okay, kill the poppy fields. It's up over 12 times what it was 9 years ago. And the U.S. and NATO said, no, we're going to let them grow and sell the opium. I mean, it's out in the open, but then cops will raid your house looking for a marijuana cigarette. We're going directly to your calls when we come back. I'm going to play a trailer for Invisible Empire that premieres tomorrow. Then we're going right to your calls. I'm going to stop hogging Gerald Celente for myself until about 45 after in the next hour. Then I'm going to blitz through a whole bunch of questions. You can also send your questions to our Twitter account, twitter.com/The Real Alex Jones. Your questions for Gerald Celente via Twitter as well on the other side of this quick break. Be sure and visit his website, trendsresearch.com. And if you want to buy a subscription, either digital or to the hard copy, believe me, I know a lot. I research a lot. I spend 4 or 5 hours a day. That's no exaggeration. Sometimes more. I'm pretty addicted to info. total info junkie, factoid junkie, history junkie. I learn something every time I read the Trends Forecaster. I learn something every time I talk to Gerald Celente. We can all learn a lot more from him and all learn together. So that's coming up. Be sure and subscribe to the Trends Journal at trendsresearch.com. I'm Alex Jones. Our websites are prisonplanet.tv and infowars.com. We're premiering 2 new films.